Hi. So now with the whole COVID-19 isolation thing, I finally gotten around to editing the videos of the build of the Golden Goose, and so that was back in 2017 that I did that build. And yeah, at the end of the build, we had built the van. We'd been living in an apartment for a year, and we built the van so that when we were planning on going to Indonesia, and at the end, when we returned from Indonesia, we were going to want a home, and the Golden Goose was built so that when we came back from Indonesia, we'd have a home. Yeah, so as it turns out, we're back in Indonesia, and we're stranded here, so to speak. We're not doing too bad. We've found ourselves a nice place, and yeah. By the way, yeah, we live on a very tight budget. So one of the benefits of being nomadic as we are is that you can be fairly flexible, and so we've managed to get a fairly nice place here to ride this out. And so anyway, back to the topic of the Golden Goose. So in the video, it's more of an exploration of watching me, figuring it out as I go. It's not it's not me having the drawings on the table and then doing a completely accurate representation and just building it. It's actually, it shows the process I went through. There's in creating something like that, like the Golden Goose, the van, I had some objectives, and the objectives were that the van must be a home for 4 of us, my wife and I and our 2 small children, and it must be fuel efficient. It had to have a full-size shower, and it needed to have standing headroom, and then an adequate amount of water, and it had to have a galley, a kitchen inside. It had to be able to carry our dinghy, our folding picnic table, and our gazebo tent, all our clothing, because that was our home. We needed to be able to keep food. We needed to be able to power all of our devices so that we could live very comfortably. And we hit the nail on the head in all of. Yeah, and so the result was we ended up with a home that when we arrived back from Indonesia, it wasn't finished. We had a lot to do still, and we added and modified as we went, and really made it our home. And we lived on aboard Golden Goose for 5 months in the summer of 2018, and we had a great time. We did some things like we decided to travel 100 kilometers per day maximum. And so each day we would depart where we had stopped for the night, and we would depart after dinner, drive 100 kilometers, and then wake up the next morning in a new place and spend the entire day there. We did that for 2 solid weeks, and just 100 kilometers a day. It was really beautiful. And we toured all over Western Canada, and this is our way of life. This is not a holiday that we're on. This is what we do, and we do it on an extreme budget, So anyway, beyond that, when that summer was getting near the end, we did as we had sort of planned, and we bought a new sailboat and moved aboard that sailboat for just over a year. The boat is still waiting for us right now in Canada, and we have plans to probably get ourselves another land-based setup, maybe something similar to the van, working on different ideas. But the Golden Goose was, it looked unusual, but what we discovered is that actually just about every motorhome, RV, camper, they all look really super unusual. There's not one. In fact, I would say that when a person gets used to it, the Golden Goose actually looked more normal than a lot of the others that we've just become so familiar with. It was super. Excellent on fuel, 24 miles to the gallon. I think the original mileage on those was 26, and the shower in there was full size. It dropped down from the ceiling because I'd left enough headroom. It dropped down, and it was really quite amazing, quite an amazing shower. The galley was good. My wife Kate does all the cooking, and there was plenty of room for her. And when we would set up in a place where we could set up the gazebo, we'd bring our picnic table, our folding picnic table in there, and we'd set up a galley in the gazebo and live outside, because that's kind of what we like to do. We educate our kids from home, and it works out really well. They're quite advanced on where they would normally have been had we just put them into school. Not saying anything bad about regular school, but just saying, we kind of saw opportunities to teach in everything that we did and everywhere we went. So anyway, I don't know how excited you're going to be about the video of the build. It's a bit technical. It's a bit of me fumbling my way through the whole experience. I spent a lot of time with the kids doing that, and it ended up working out really well. So yeah, have a look at it, see what you think. It's you'll be spending a little bit of time to watch it. I don't know, it takes an hour and a half or something like that for the whole thing. But yeah, it was very it was a great experience for me. Super creative, and yeah, we because we're nomadic, we've learned to live in tiny spaces, and we prefer it because there's a lot more intimacy. We've got this big villa here in Bali, and one of the things that we all notice is that we're all so spread out that we don't actually, we're not near each other at all, and that's not that pleasant, really. It's much nicer to be within arm's reach of your loved ones all the time, and learn how to do that. So yeah, I recommend the way of life to anyone that's considering it. It's after I'm actually writing a play right now. I started it in November, long before this whole COVID-19 thing started happening, and it's about a young couple that go camping, and then they just the young couple discovers that they don't want to go back, and the play is called I'm Not Going Back, and it's quite an interesting one, because in this whole COVID-19 thing, we're all faced with that situation where we are finding ourselves in a simpler way, and being in that simpler way can, if we're in it for too long, we can suddenly start to realize that a lot of the excess and a lot of the other stuff is really not that important, and we learn to crave it. Abigail and Henry were both came home to sailboats when they were born, and we moved from there into a cabin in the woods, and then after Henry was born, and then we had a motorhome for a year, and then we went to Bali for a winter, and then we got an apartment for a year, and we tried that out, and within 3 months of moving in there, I had quit writing my diary of 3 years, because my life had basically become very mundane, and my wife had gone to the doctor and had antidepressants prescribed to her. The following summer, we went camping, and within about a week, we realized why these changes had happened to us when we moved into the apartment. It's because being in the natural world is what we all need. Some of us don't want to admit it, but we all need it. It's the energy that we are all designed to be plugged into, and when we isolate ourselves from the natural world, you can see it now with the whole coronavirus lockdown situation. I mean, people that normally wouldn't even go outside are now craving the outside and demanding the outside and going for walks. And so anyway, I don't want to be political or that sort of thing, but yeah, our way of life and the making of the Golden Goose van was a wonderful time, and the simplicity of our life generally is absolutely wonderful, and we're so grateful for that we're able to do that. So, and so I hope you enjoy the video, and yeah. Oh yes, and the kids watch some YouTube once in a while, so like and share and subscribe. They do that when they're playing around with their little phones. We don't give them internet, but they like to pretend they're on YouTube. So enjoy. Thank you.